Hi and welcome to this episode of Zeitgeist podcast with Niklas and Flo. Hi, I'm Niklas.
Hi, I'm Flo. Yeah, today we're talking about why does everyone feel exhausted? The burnout generation. I guess we're all like in the same kind of boat. Especially the millennials, we kind of feel that we always need to reach the next level. We have a lot of pressure, like business or family and all the stuff. And so I feel the need that we need to talk about it, especially since this is like the beginning of 2026. So we have like our, um, what's the right word? Vorsätze, we have our plans, we want to do changes and things, and I guess one of the most important things is to be clear with yourself, especially with your mind, to really reach your goals and all the stuff. And the big question is why feel people are tired.
Yeah, so if you ask me, I feel a lot of things get faster and more abstract. I think we have a lot more distraction in this world than we had like before. Like, what does it mean? For example, when I was young, it's not so long ago, right? We didn't have TikTok, we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have WhatsApp. Like all these things, like the world felt slower because news would come with the newspaper earliest the next day. If you went on holiday when I was little, like I
And you
remember
really
that,
need to be active on going
yeah,
to the store, buying a newspaper, or you have to wait for the evening to see the news on TV. And now it's like all over the place. Everyone knows everything, what's happening in Mumbai, in New York, in Munich, whatever.
yeah, that's kind of, if you don't have the options, there's obviously no disadvantage of not having the information, but more information can be an advantage. And in a lot of places, like if you're better informed, you can make better decisions and you can make them fast. And I think a lot of things here around filters, like how do I filter out the information that I don't need? How do I get out of like the gamified addictive tools? I think that's the first place because a lot of other things it didn't really change, right? So people would have children forever. That's kind of how humanity works. Like these things didn't really change. Like people would have homes and needed to care for them. People would have to provide somehow, have a job. But like the things that are now really fast is we removed a lot of friction in information flow. And like now information
But I
flows very
think
fast.
the pressure is a different now. No matter if you're talking about family or business or like if you're like a single household or whatever, since you always see what's happening outside your own bubble. I can just assume how our parents did it, but in their bubble, you just see what's happening in your own family, maybe in your, uncles or aunts' household. You see what's happening in your classmates' houses, stuff like this. But now you can see what's happening with family XYZ, like which lives like 300 miles far away from you. How do they celebrate Christmas? How tall is their Christmas tree? How, I don't know, expensive is their car or their vacation and stuff like this? And you always feel like the need to, you know, measure how things are going on in their life and how are things going on in your life.
Yeah, that's probably on top, right? And also like a lot of things there again, I think a lot of topics wash up on you a lot quicker, and as the information arrives quicker, people also expect quicker actions. Like that's also what I really think. Like if you just had a letter and the letter would arrive like in 2 days, basically, it just means that the expectation for your action is in 2 days, and now it's a bit like, okay, if I get an email or WhatsApp message, and for
You
people
need
it's
to answer
urgent,
immediately.
yeah, they expect like maybe even a reaction in like minutes. Like, and I think this puts a very different strain on us as people, because we have the necessity to switch between all these small things, because obviously also if the information all arrives via letterbox, basically you can just sort it and go through it. And I think it's a lot, like the amount of context switching and so on you have to do is just a lot less, like if you're not bombarded with information.
Yeah, that's true. Do you think life is simply too full?
No, I think we now have, and it's also like, no, so first of all, no, I don't think so. I think it's what you make it at the end of the day. Nobody keeps you from deleting Instagram or TikTok. It's like, you can just do it. I think what changed a lot is we now have, besides this fast information flow and so on, we also have like things that are actively designed to take your time. Like their business is kind of attention, and they want you to spend time there, and that's time that you don't use for other things. That's more like my feeling. I don't really think. I think it's all, or a lot of it is within your control. I would say you can turn it off. In business, it's a bit different, right? Because the expectation is kind of that your speed adapts to the speed of the information that you receive.
Yeah, that's true. So when was the last time you really switched off?
I usually switch off when I go on holiday and go surfing. Like surfing is very easy because you cannot take a phone, actually.
Yeah.
Or you could, but it's very impractical. You would just take it for emergency calls or something like that. But outside of such a situation, it's usually you don't really want to take it. So then you're off. Like if you go surfing for 6 hours, then you're off for 6 hours. And in the water, you can just sit there if you surf and you wait for waves. And you can talk to people, but that's basically it. So
yeah.
So this works really well. I spend a lot of time in front of my computer. I also build software a lot, so I'm kind of drawn to all of these things. But for example, what I did on my tablet, I don't have Instagram anymore. On neither my phone nor my tablet, I have TikTok, for example. It's just not installed. And I think like just getting rid of some of these things help. And I try to go back to reading books actually now. So I listen to a lot of audiobooks when I'm in the car, because that's something that I actually like. If I have a lot of time, I like to listen to books, but I want to get further away again from this very fragmented pieces of very short information, what you would call brain rot or doom scrolling. And what I use is X or Twitter. I use that a lot, but that is for me, it's just like global community. I can write to people all around the world, which I really like. But also there, I have like notifications disabled, so I will just see it if I actively open the app.
Yeah, makes sense. Do you think we glorify stress?
Sort of, I would say. I think I also believe that, like, I personally believe that doing things and moving the world forward is a valuable thing, and it also gives myself meaning at the end of the day. And if you want to do that on a bit of a bigger scale, you always have some sort of stress, because whatever. But stress, I think Jeff Bezos said it to his senior managers. He said, yeah, but stress usually comes from a lack of control. And if you're a senior leader at Amazon and you're very stressed, then you're doing something wrong, because you can just hire people to take the tasks that stress you most, that you're not good at, and all these things. You can replace it. It kind of you are kind of in control how everything around you looks if you're like that. And I believe the same, that stress comes from obviously also very hard deadlines, but that's also lack of control of being able to get something done or finished in time or something like that. So yeah, I think we glorify it. I think it's part of doing things. So if you're not stressed at all, you're too far inside your comfort zone, you're not moving fast enough. That's what I think. So yeah. How about you?
Which question exactly? If I think stress is glorified?
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, you hear it all the time. Everyone is stressed. Everyone is busy. Everyone is. I don't know. I mean, I guess like one simple example. When I was a kid, for me, it was always easy to meet a friend. You just picked up the phone, called someone, and asked, "Hey, do you want to play at my house, or should I come to your house?" Now it feels like you always needs to make like a meeting like a week in advance, and it's really tough to make it happen, like a play date, for example. And it comes down to like the parents who are like busy all the time. You have to handle like multiple kids, multiple activities, afternoon activities, your job, and God knows what else. So it's just one example which shows me that things are sometimes definitely stressful, and so no matter if it's glorified or not, it feels like everyone is like really packed with a lot of things.
Yeah. That's probably true. And outside of that, what do you think has changed? Do you see things differently? What's the influence of social media that you think exists in this space?
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm online like almost 24/7. Is at least my feeling. It's the first thing in the morning. You get like a whole load of news and stuff what's happened overnight, and this is like constantly up until you go to bed. Basically, you see in real time when something happens on the other side of the world, basically. And you also see not just the news, you also get like what at least a handful of people are thinking about it, right? I mean, if there's like a bag of rice which falls down in China, you see like 300 comments and meanings, opinions, why this happened or why it shouldn't happen, and why it is good that it happened, and so on and so on. So it's not just you see the news and you make your own opinion. You also get like bashed about 300 different views on one thing. Um, it's definitely a lot to take in.
And yeah, it's probably true. And if you look back, do you feel more pressure today on topics than you were like 10 years ago, and why? If
I don't know. I mean, on the one hand, I would say that we have like a really convenient life with like all the technology, the chat GPTs and so on. We can ask like almost every question. We can Google stuff. We can buy things and it arrives basically on the same day. So we shouldn't complain too much. But I don't know. It feels like 10 years ago, everything was like easier. Everyone was happy in my little bubble. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? And it's interesting to see how this evolves. So we would also be interested in your comments. Please write them down, give us a like, and subscribe. And see you next time. This was this episode of Zeitgeist Podcast. Thanks and bye bye.
Bye bye.